After late-night wrangling over a climate change deal agreed at the United Nations talks in Peru's capital, Lima, the compromise sets the stage for a global climate pact in Paris next year, as CCTV correspondent Nan Collins reports from the conference.
Running into extra time and under pressure to get a deal, Peru's Environment Minister Manuel Vidal presented a new fourth draft just before midnight. He gave parties just an hour to review it. The two previous texts had been rejected by developing countries who accused rich nations of shirking their responsibilities to fight global warming.
It seems to me, and I'm sure, that we are all ready to take on the challenge of approving this document. And if that is the case, and I don't hear any objection, the text is approved.
Approval, with negotiations on the brink of collapse. After 2 weeks of talks, there was relief and celebrations.
Carefully reworded to overcome objections, the text is finally approved in the early hours of Sunday morning. The first step on the road to a global climate change deal in Paris next year.
The goal was to reach a draft agreement for countries' individual pledges to combat global warming. But even that proved difficult, as poorer countries demanded financial aid from richer ones to combat climate change. Finding compromise had been hard, said the UN's climate chief, Christiana Figueres.
We do know that we must address climate change. We know increasingly that we can address climate change. And with this COP and moving on to Paris, we cement the fact that we will address climate change.
But observers say the spirit of compromise led to a deal with no teeth.
So we came in here on a wave of optimism. We had these announcements from the US and China. We had lots of good announcements from countries in Latin America about renewable energy, about protecting forests. And where we are now is that we have a weak text, and we're going to have an incredibly hard road towards Paris if we want to get a good global deal.
As delegates head home, the work towards a global climate change deal in Paris is just beginning. Dan Collins, CCTV, Lima.